You're listening to the Running Around Charlotte podcast presented by the Novant Health Charlotte Marathon. Find out more or register at runcharlotte.com. Now, here are your hosts for the Running Around Charlotte podcast, Tim Rhodes and DC Lucchese.
Welcome back to the Running Around Charlotte podcast, coming to you live, if you will, from the Novant Health Charlotte Marathon Expo, presented by our friends at Fleet Feet. Man, I have got two very cool folks with us today. Everybody probably knows by now, for those of you who are new to town, the Novant Health Charlotte Marathon benefits our friends over at the Novant Health Hemby Children's Hospital. And I'm not going to divulge any new numbers yet, but suffice to say, as of this conversation, what I can tell you is over the years with our association, we have raised over runners and partners and friends like all y'all and all y'all paying attention, have raised over $600,000 to assist programs over at Hemby Children's Hospital. So yes, exactly, shout out all y'all. And today I have got Myles Wynn with me. Let's just call him Team Hemby's leading man. That's what I'm saying anyway. And Dani Smith, and I had to write this down, Philanthropy Manager, easy for me to say, at the Novant Health Foundation. Dani, Myles, thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Always a treat, always a treat. Well, let's just go ahead and get started right here. Tell us about your role as Philanthropy Manager.
Sure.
Over there.
So at Novant, I work for the foundation, and we raise money, obviously. I would assume that's obvious, but maybe not. We raise money to help support programs that are either underfunded by insurance or just not funded at all, or just might need a little extra boost. And so specifically with Hemby, we do a lot with anything from child life to helping these new units like the intermediate care unit be able to be stood up. And we basically work with donors to help fund those.
Right, and it goes without saying that we have 177 people moving to Charlotte every day, so not everybody knows who we are and what we're up to and how all these things kind of come together. And Myles, you have been involved. You are, as you said earlier, coming in hot this year. With
to
Team
put it
Hemby.
lightly. To put it lightly.
Coming in hot. I mean, if you've met Betsy before, Betsy Zarzor, who has been the number one champion for this Team Hemby thing from the jump. Man, you are like right there on pace with Betsy.
I'm just riding your coattails, man. Shout out to Betsy.
Exactly.
You're the best.
Totally. Shout out to Betsy. She's something else, man. She is something else. So tell us about your role and tell us how you got involved with Team Hemby. Let's just start with, give us the primer, if you will, on Team Hemby.
So Team Hemby is the group of runners that are raising money for the Children's Hospital, as Dani noted. And so this is a group of folks that are running various distances. So it could be a 5K, it could be a half marathon, it could be a full marathon. And as part of that, they will go out and request donations, and Dani will tell us more about where that money is going. So we've got an awesome group, people from all over the country. Some of them have personal experience at Hemby or other facilities. Yep. It's an amazing group who have stepped up big time this year.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll talk later about the numbers that I've spoken with Betsy, so I kind of had the insider information. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
So there will be a very exciting check presentation by the time this event is
over. We're not done yet. We're trying to go a lot bigger.
It's like, oh boy, this is going to be great. And you talk about that personal experience piece. Look, you're new to Charlotte, or relatively anyway, and you and I spoke earlier. We did an interview and all that. And the thing that got you excited about being a part of Team Hemby was when you guys moved to town. You said your wife got on the board over at the hospital, Novant Health, and you were like, I'm going to get involved too. And you also had a personal family situation that made this be even more meaningful. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we are newly back to Charlotte. We are native Charlotteans who spent about a decade between DC and mostly Boston. So we went to various places for jobs. We actually moved to Boston. We knew one person each. But we fell in love with the city. And when it comes to the personal experience, I have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy, Abby, Lucy, and Luke. And when Luke was about 4 weeks old, he had been premature. And at 4 weeks old, when we were in Boston, he got a respiratory virus. And we went to the ER at Newton Wellesley Hospital, which is an amazing hospital. If anybody here is listening from Newton Wellesley, they were fantastic. And this was a Sunday. And throughout the first couple of days of the week, he progressed. It looks like he was getting better. I can't even remember what the respiratory virus was. But I was sleeping at the hospital with him, and Wednesday morning, out of nowhere, there were 15 doctors and nurses that flooded the room. They had pulled the emergency cord, so to say. And what had happened is Luke had developed pneumonia, and he was in really bad shape. So he was having trouble breathing. They had a CPAP at Newton Wellesley that was pretty strong, but they took us outside and said, we got to get him in an ambulance to Boston Children's right away, which I can't say enough about Boston Children's. They saved Luke's life. They have all of the best state-of-the-art technology and maximum firepower when it comes to a CPAP, which, not to get too in the details, is a machine that is used when you're having trouble breathing. So because of the pneumonia, his lungs were flooded. And so we got to Boston Children's. They're already doing this at Newton Wellesley, but tons of tubes down his throat to pull out all of the liquid. If you looked at a picture of him, there's wires everywhere, and they had the CPAP. And they just took unbelievable care of him. What I tell people all the time about this experience is we use the word hero way too often in our culture, but doctors and nurses really are heroes. And that group at Boston Children's, the care that they showed to Luke, and not just the medical care, but the human side of it, how much they cared about Luke was unbelievable. It was St. Patrick's Day, and they actually took his feet and they made a little 4-leaf clover, and it said, "I'm the cutest clover in the patch." And they were doing all these pictures for Luke, and they were just amazing. So we had that very personal experience of almost losing our son. And when we moved back to Charlotte, we love the city. We're both from here, so both my wife and I, my wife is Grace, by the way, born and raised in Charlotte. And when we came back home, service is really important to us. We're big believers in too much has given, much is expected. And we spent some time thinking about where do we want to get really involved. We would prefer to get deeply involved in a few organizations than kind of spread thin on the periphery. And Hemby was an obvious choice. And my wife, Grace, joined the advisory council at Hemby, so she began to learn more about the organization. And I had run a couple of marathons. When I was in Boston, I ran Boston twice for Dana-Farber. Another shout out to an amazing organization. And that experience was just incredible. I'm not a natural runner, but during COVID, we lived in Newton right next to Heartbreak Hill. And so I was running because you couldn't go to the gym, and I was running Heartbreak Hill all the time. I was running through the Boston College campus, and I had raised money for Dana-Farber when I was in business school, and I learned about the team. And I said, why not? When am I ever going to try to run the Boston Marathon again? And you can raise money for this incredible organization. They raise about $7 million a year, and it all goes to the Claudia Adams Barr Fund, which funds the most innovative cancer research that would not happen without those dollars.
Wow, right on.
So I did that a couple of years. Every time I do a marathon, I say I'm done, and then 2 days later I sign back up.
So they get you. Yeah.
And then last year, because of Grace's involvement at Hemby, I learned about Team Hemby, and I became involved. And it was just such a powerful experience. Dani and Betsy and everybody that's involved, Amy, Sarah, Grace, Kate, they just do an amazing job. And then you meet these patients. So the Meaningful Miles patients that you can learn more about, you actually get to meet them and you hear these stories. There's a great one from last year, Sophie, if you have a chance to go on the website. And there's a picture of her ringing the bell. She was about 5 years old from finishing her cancer treatment in a Wonder Woman costume. Every time I read it, I cry. So I had an amazing experience last year. Betsy and I, we had a lot of mutual connections. She knows my mom very well. And then we just started talking about what could next year be. And we're kindred spirits, so we hit it off very quickly. And she asked if I'd like to be the team captain. And I said, that sounds incredible. So I took over that role, 5-6 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's been an absolute blast. It's an honor to get to work with this team. I mean, it really is a privilege. So that's how I got here, and we'll get into the numbers later, but we're going big. every single dollar we raise
Yep.
and every gift that anybody makes as part of this effort could save a child's life.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that later.
Yeah, or make, at the very least, make their stay at and their experience at Hemby Children's Hospital that much better.
Absolutely.
Dani, talk to us a little bit about that.
So this year specifically, if you want to go there,
Yeah,
we
sure.
are fundraising. In the last few years, actually, we have been fundraising for the Intermediate Care Unit, is the Tony Stewart Intermediate Care Unit up in Hemby Children's Hospital. And
Shout out to Tony Stewart.
Yes, he
Columbus,
really
Indiana's finest. Yeah.
he really helped us get the ball rolling on that. And so this unit will be a step down from the PICU. And so the PICU houses our sickest patients. And a lot of times patients kind of get stuck there because they can't really be lowered down into the general unit yet because the nurse-to-patient ratio is a little bit too high for them. And so whereas the PICU has like a 2-to-1 ratio of nurse-to-patient, or patient to nurse, this will have closer to like 3 to 4 to 1 instead of like the 6 to 1 that the general floor will see. So it will allow still a high level of care, but not as bad as the ICU. And you don't want to keep kids in the ICU longer than you need to. You want to get them downgraded so that they don't have to be around all the other sickness, and and it's a better environment in general to be able to lower them into that unit. And so a lot of times if they're lowered into the general floor too soon, then they might be readmitted. And so this will drastically reduce the readmission rate, which will be amazing. It will have 6 new rooms. Each room has an ensuite bathroom, and that will be able to be used also by parents and things so that they're not leaving their kids to have to go shower or do whatever that looks like, which you don't really think about until you're staying in the hospital and you realize, oh, well, even if you have to go to, like, we have a shower and like the general floor that parents can use, but it's all the way at the end of the hall. You're still leaving the room. And so this will just really help on that front. And it also has all of the same equipment that the ICU has. And so if it does need to be upgraded or there is some issues, then we have all the same things there that can take that same level of care. It's just in a different wing, and it's just, again, a little bit downgraded so that they are not kind of in that intense environment as much, but they're still being looked after extremely closely.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's like I was just up there the other day, and dropping off breakfast to the team, and got the chance to bop over there and see some of the nurses and staff that were over there at Hemby. And you're like, you know what? I hadn't been over there in a couple of years, and I was like, it's one of those things where you're like, I'm glad I haven't been here, because it's like, it's like not in that way, but it's like it's comforting to know that we live in a town that has that kind of resource, and you hope to God that you never have to grace the doors, right?
Yeah, and we always say, like, we don't want people coming through our doors, but we are glad to be there if they need us, and we want to be giving the best care that we can when they do need us. And to be able to kind of upgrade these facilities and make a whole new wing is huge, because it's just allowing that extra layer of care. And really, especially during this time of year, like as respiratory season really kind of kicks into gear,
here we go.
That's what that is used for a lot. And so it'll really just upgrade the level of care in general. And so it'll be opening in December. So it's
That's
within
amazing.
a year they've reopened the whole unit, and it's like such a quick turnaround. So it's super exciting, and we'll have patients in there as soon as end of December.
Yeah, with construction these days, anything running.
It's amazing.
Wow, my gosh.
Less than a year. We kicked off in January, so the fact
Oh my
that
gosh.
this is closing before year end, when they told us December, we were like, oh, 2026, and they were like, no, this year. We're
You're
like,
like,
okay.
More proof that your dollars are going to a really good spot.
Exactly.
And DC, as you mentioned, I will tell you from personal experience that the medical side is critical. You've heard me say what I feel about doctors and nurses, but we don't want anyone to have to come through these facilities. But when you do with a child, I mean, that was the worst week of Grace and I's life.
Oh, I'm sure.
When you have a child in that type of condition. And all the other things make such a difference. I mean, the first time I toured Hemby, it's the Under the Sea theme that we have. Every little touch that brings joy to a child as they're progressing, or makes the parents feel more, everything matters. And Hemby has done such a beautiful job in the facility. There's the indoor playground that children can use. There's a great kitchen for parents. I mean, you barely can think about eating when you're in a situation like this. And as Dani mentioned, the intermediate care unit is not only amazing for the treatment that it gives and prevents readmission, but it frees up capacity in the ICU.
Yeah.
And as one of, if not the fastest growing cities in the United States, I mean, I'll tell you, being a native Charlottean and coming back after 10 years away, it takes a while to get used to the growth and the amount of people that have come into the city.
You're like, wow.
Which, come to Charlotte. If you're not listening from Charlotte, we'd love to have you here.
You'd be one of 177, right?
But we need these beds. We need these facilities because I'm not trying to sell Charlotte too hard, but I don't see how the growth slows down. Every week we've got more companies announcing that they want to come here. Living in Boston, I was always amazed at the number of people that would ask me about Charlotte, and because they had heard about it. So we need this capacity. We need these facilities, and that's why every single dollar is going to make a difference.
Right. And that's one of those things. It's like you think about, I will never grace the doors, God willing, but knowing that you made that impact, and like you said, going in there and seeing that facility, or going in there and reading those stories about those families, that'll make you understand.
And it really is something that you don't realize until you are actually in that position and you need that. If you look at our donors, we have an amazing group of donors, and probably 80% of those are grateful patient families in some capacity. And so they have had an experience at the hospital, and they've realized just how important that is, and how far their money does go when funding things throughout the hospital.
Yeah. And well, we figured out how Myles got involved in this. Let me walk back just a minute. How did you get involved in this? And to me, I know you worked at with St. Jude for a minute before you came over to Hemby. Tell us your journey here.
So I really, through my family, kind of same as what Myles was saying, I was taught from a very young age that, like, our job is to serve others and to be that for others. And so I got involved with different charities in high school and right out of college, and kind of just got involved in this world. I always wanted to be like in the clinical space, thinking like, oh, maybe I can find some way. And I was not a science girl at all. And so I learned very quickly that was not an option. And so I started volunteering at St. Jude's DC administrative office, and found like a whole new avenue of this like philanthropic fundraising, and how you could be involved in more of an administrative way, and really fell in love with it.
That all matters, right?
And
it's like, come on, right?
Well, yeah, it felt like I was still involved without having to be like a doctor, which would never have really worked out for me. And
no,
so,
you don't know that.
I think Dani would be a heck of a doctor.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I can't do the. It's just a lot, and they're amazing, and I really admire people so much.
Yeah.
But so I really found a lot of joy in doing that, and it really kind of just brought me down this road. And Novant was actually my first ever, when I was still in the idea of like maybe I'll be a physical therapist. Right. I did a shadowing up in DC. We had the hospital I was born in was Novant, and it. That was my first job ever, was working for Novant.
No way.
And so it's kind of full circle being back here. And so I've just stayed involved in different charities and gotten involved through that. And my boss now, Amy, worked with me prior at St. Jude, so I knew her, and she was looking to build the team here. And it was just been amazing being back in person. I was virtual in my old role, so this has been so nice being with donors and being with fundraisers and just being able to like work on this. And we've had this year's been so much fun, and Myles has really been kicking it into gear and really getting everyone so excited, because fundraising doesn't have to be boring, and he's shown everyone that.
No,
so
and I want to touch on that
exciting.
in a minute, but I got to ask you this follow-up question, though, and this may be out of your space. You may not have this handy, but I'm going to ask anyway. It's like, with 177 people, that's like almost 60,000 people moving here every year. There's no way Hospital Hemby keeps up. Right, I mean, that's got to be.
It's not, and it's like all the hospitals in the area. It's like we don't turn away patients.
Right.
We will find a space for them, whether it be an adult floor. Things like this will help, because it'll keep them off the adult floor, because you never want kids being in a space where there's more germs than there needs to be, or different kind of things than other kids, and also just the actual care. Like our pediatricians and our pediatric doctors and ICU doctors, their job is so different, and they're so well versed in working with these kids that we want all of our kids to stay on that floor and be with those patients. And so, but it's an ever growing number, and like you just can't keep up. And so that's why the fundraising has really helped. It's just helping expand, and we're outside. Like Hemby Children's Hospital is that floor of the hospital, but we also have our NICU. We have the St. Jude Affiliate Clinic across the street, and we also have all of our Hemby pediatric offices around Charlotte. And so it's a lot bigger than you think when you just think of the floor in the hospital.
Oh, yeah. And with all those people moving every day, you're like, oh my, it's going to be like a treadmill.
Truly.
Trying to keep up.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh my, which, and that's not picking on anything. It's just like a statement of fact. It's like, or at least what I would think would be that
and it's crazy how
grocery
much,
stores the same way. It's like, oh my gosh, we're trying to keep up. It's
and
like,
they have probably 500,000 patient encounters every year in just Hemby. And so like it's crazy, but it's amazing the work that they're doing, and we're always trying to. The discharge time is always like, let's try to get them out quicker, because you don't ever want a kid to be in the hospital longer than anyone, but especially a kid longer than they need to be. And so to be able to have all these ways to do that is definitely a lot more helpful.
Yeah, and talking about ways to do things, different ways to be involved and to fundraise for that effort, man. It's like you and I talked a little bit earlier, and you have big plans for Team Hemby going forward.
It's going to get Dani nervous.
I know.
If you start getting me into the big plans.
Let's go.
We love a big plan.
Exactly. Let's throw it out there. Let's see what happens. Go ahead.
First of all, before we go there, Dani is very humble, and I have to give her another shout out, because the work that she has done as part of their efforts. I have the easy job. I get to have fun. I get to try to get the runners excited. Yeah. But she does an incredible job. And I will say, if you have a chance to tour Hemby with Dani, I cannot recommend it enough. And the whole staff. I mean, you mentioned Amy and Sarah Grace and Kate. My job really is easy, because they're the ones that are doing the work every day. Yeah. All I have to do is talk about it, which I really enjoy doing, and bring people in. I was just looking at one of my friends, Stuart Bonner, that I went to high school with. He's gotten really involved in Hemby.
Awesome.
I'll give a shout out to Welch Lyles and Kaylor Mark. They're other classmates from high school, and they've raised a tremendous amount of money. And I think everybody that gets involved with Team Hemby has a similar experience to me, where you just want to do more and more. And Dani, you would be a really good doctor, but everything that every single person is doing at Hemby makes a big impact. And so the role that you're without Dani, we wouldn't have so much of what we're doing this year. Without Betsy Zarzer and all the work she does behind the scenes, she's going to start to get really mad at me for like giving her so much praise on the podcast.
She hates that.
Yeah. Actually.
Notice how she's nowhere to be seen.
Well, I'm looking at her, but she's kind of hiding.
Oh, she's hiding back there.
She doesn't want us to pull her in.
Yeah.
But everybody that gets introduced to Hemby wants to come back. We've got the charity chasers, Jimmy Molina, Jocelyn Ingram, and Tom Holland, and they're the ones that they start at the back of the race. Yep. This is really, really cool. Yep. They're the last ones to start the marathon, and then for every runner that they pass, they raise a certain amount of money. Yep. Dani, do you remember what the details are for each one of them this year?
I don't know the exact specifics, but basically they partner with corporate partners and individuals too, who say, for every person you pass, I'm going to donate X amount. And then so they're in a race. Like you think about racing, like, oh, I just want to race myself, but they are like passing people. That is the whole goal.
So don't feel bad.
Yeah. So if you see
they will definitely pass me, and probably pretty early. I'll tell you that much.
But it's
don't
pretty
feel
cool.
bad.
No,
right?
and I'm like, cheer
bad.
them on, because the more people they pass, the more money it's raised.
Exactly.
And they have their black little outfits for running this year, and they all match, and they are awesome. And it's just if you see them run by you, cheer them on, because they're running for the kids, and they're really running and racing.
Yeah, I saw Jocelyn on my run this morning. It's like, oh my God. I'm like, all right, coach, get out there. I'm like, tune it up, shake off a little rust before you get out there on Saturday morning.
Exactly.
It'll be good. And you'll be running.
I'll be running.
Are you running with anybody, or are you running solo? Or how are you going to do this thing tomorrow?
So I mentioned my friend Welch Lyles.
Yep.
He's running his first marathon.
Right
so
on.
he got involved with Hemby, and he's running a marathon for the first time.
That's how they get you.
That's pretty amazing. I am not very fast, and so he will leave me in the dust pretty quickly. I'm out there to have fun. My goal, I'm not a natural runner. I never ran 3 miles before I ran a marathon. And then when I lived in Rwanda, there wasn't a gym to go to, so I started running, and that's kind of what got me into it. So everybody's probably going to leave me in the dust, but I don't care. My goal is to get like the most high fives of anybody on the course. We've got a stunning weekend of weather. It's a little warm for the serious runners, but for the rest of us, just absolutely perfect. I know there's going to be a lot of people out on the course.
It's a great cheer day. The
oh my gosh, are you kidding me? It's going to be great. And volunteer and cheer is going to be like
and if you haven't been out there during the race, regardless of what we're doing for Team Hemby, it is one of the coolest experiences. When we first had the Boston Marathon after COVID, there's a great article in the Boston Globe, and the headline was, "The Boston Marathon reminds us how good humanity can be," because the entire city is on the same side cheering for everybody, and it's the same in Charlotte, and it's amazing to watch the growth of the race. I ran it back in 2012 when I came back from Rwanda, and it was a pretty big race then.
Probably about 5,000 or 6,000 people that.
And now we're up to 11,000. We keep going higher and higher and selling out. It's become one that people are traveling in to do the Charlotte Marathon. And I noticed, so I ran the half the past 2 years. The first year, I was running on behalf of the Jenner 5 Foundation, which is another amazing foundation. If you have a chance to look up Jenner 5 Foundation, many of my friends who also were not runners have become involved running on behalf of that foundation. And I was blown away when I did that first half. Just the number of fans that are out there, the energy. It's phenomenal for kids. They're also really great at being loud and cheering. This is one of those times, if you've got young kids and you're constantly trying to get the house a little quieter, which Grace and I gave up on a long time ago. I don't even hear the noise anymore, and I'm going to miss it when it's gone. But they're great. They can make all the noise they want. Like, just let them get it all out.
Get all their energy out.
Yes. And it's a beautiful course. Look, I'm biased. I'm a native Charlottean. I think it's the most beautiful city in the country. Again, come join us if you're not in Charlotte. But I can't recommend the experience enough. And it's been really fun to see it grow with the city. Yeah. And again, everybody's on the same team. Everybody's cheering everybody on. Yeah. And if you've never done it, I'm also going to plug the marathon or the half marathon or the 5K. It's an amazing experience. You don't even have to run. You can walk the 5K. Just like the Turkey Trot, it's just a great event for families, and it's really one of the best days of the year.
I would
agree.
agree.
Community is is something I don't think people know about. Like, until you have experienced it, it's just so fun. I think even if you're not running and you're just like a spectator and just being out there cheering, it just really restores people's hope in humanity. Yeah. I feel like it really just brings out the best in people, and I think it's just such a fun time. All my friends that have not run before or not run, I always like encouraging them to like go check it out, even if it's like a 5K or even if you just are going out to watch. Like, it's so much fun, and the atmosphere, you can't beat the atmosphere.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you again, as someone who's not a natural runner, every fan makes a huge difference, especially that second half of the race, and especially when you hit the wall around mile 18 or 20. Every person out there that's cheering you on helps you get to the finish line. So it's just an amazing way that the city comes together. I think it highlights why Charlotte is such a special community. You hear that from people all the time that visit. I remember when the Panthers played the Cowboys back in the 90s in the playoffs, and we knocked them out of the playoffs. There was a video
to bring up
of Dani's from Dallas, so we also took
we
also took care of business a couple weeks
ago too.
My God.
I went there. My dad's sitting behind me. He and I went, and there's this great video of Bill Parcells talking to Dom Capers, or actually maybe it was 2003 when it was John Fox, and we beat you again in the playoffs. But this is a great video the NFL captured, and I think it is Parcells, and he's going, wow, this city is just beautiful. He's just blown away. Said he was driving around. He hadn't spent a lot of time there. And, I think that's how Charlotte has continued to grow, and it's a really, really special place.
It is, without a doubt, as is Hemby Children's Hospital, a very special place. And I'm going to let you real quick, goals for Team Hemby coming up for 2026, because I know you're already thinking about it. Lay it on me.
All right, so for next year.
Yeah, let's go.
I will say real quick that our goal this year is $150,000. I think we raised somewhere.
We're not revealing that yet.
Oh, I'm not. No, I'm talking about last year. Not
Oh,
this
last year we were about 120-ish.
Yeah,
One-
like 117 or something.
Yeah.
Right around 120. That's fair, yeah.
Yes, so
Yeah.
120 last year.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to 250 this year, and Betsy and Danny had to sort
Oh,
of keep
boy,
me,
I can rein you in, huh?
which is a lot of what they do is keep me in line.
Fair.
So 150 this year.
Yep.
Would love to go bigger next year, 200, 250. Let's see how nervous I can make Danny on this podcast.
Perfect.
I don't see any reason why 5 years from now this can't turn into an event that's raising $1 million a year.
I love that.
I've had the experience
Yep.
with Dana-Farber raising millions
Yep.
of dollars. Again, more people come in, more people want to participate. The city learns more about it. We've got QR codes that we've been handing out over the city. It's very easy to donate. You literally scan this and
Yep.
you can pay with Apple Pay, and it takes less than 60 seconds.
Yeah, buddy.
And again, I've yet to meet somebody that donated to Hemby and learned more about what you all are doing every day that didn't want to get more involved, that wanted to give more. Because when you see the impact that those doctors and nurses are having every day, when you walk around the facility and you see all of the investments they have made, again, I hope nobody with kids that's listening and hasn't been ever has to go.
All right.
But it is the kind of place when you go through an experience like that you want it to be. So yeah, I think we can get bigger and bigger. I'm going to try to keep it in line so I don't make Danny too nervous.
We love it. We would not be where we are with the fundraising this year, even close without Myles. So Myles has
I love it.
been crushing the fundraising. And it's not only the fundraising, because his personal fundraising is insane. Like, he's just taken off with it. But the actual, hype, we call him our hype man of the team.
There you go.
It's on an unreal level. I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing.
Perfect.
And so it really gets everyone else excited. I can't tell you how many emails I've gotten this week being like, I don't know if I'm on Myles' level yet, but I'm really trying.
It ain't that hard. It ain't that hard to get there. Again,
love it.
It's the easiest job in the world. When you get to talk about Hemby, when you get to work with these amazing people, it's fun. I can't believe I get to do it. I mean, it's such an honor. It's such a privilege. And again, I won't make Danny too nervous, but I think we can go a lot bigger.
Oh, yeah. Now,
Thank you,
and
for
Dani,
sure.
before we let you go,
Sure.
for 2026, goals for Hemby Children's Hospital.
Hemby Children's Hospital is just to continue to grow. We have, I really can't give you specifics of what's happening, but for the, like I said, the intermediate care unit will be launched and going in December, and then really it'll be continuing to update the hospital, update things that are happening. We have a Child Life Fellowship, which is a big thing coming up that it's going to be philanthropy funded, and that really is a huge field. Our Child Life specialists are here with us today doing a teddy bear clinic, and they are basically, they take the teddy bears and show the kids what kind of procedure they're going to go through by using that as an example. And
Beautiful.
They are just an amazing team, and there's such a shortage of that right now. And so they're doing a new program where instead of just the internship, it'll be attached to the fellowship as well, and it'll basically allow us to retain more talent and train people to come in and be able to stay with Hemby instead of having to leave because they have to have a year experience before they can start.
That's great.
And so just lots of awesome stuff happening.
I mean, Danny could go on for an hour.
Literally.
These stories
Yeah.
and what they do, they don't end. So thank you, Danny.
Thank you guys.
You are amazing. Thank you, DC. It's been
Absolutely.
a blast getting to know you. Appreciate everything that you do.
Yeah.
And let's have a really good race tomorrow. I'm ready to get going.
I have high hopes for all of that. I think it's going to be a beautiful day and a beautiful weekend. Myles, Dani, thank you so much, and thank you for listening and participating in this episode of the Running Around Charlotte podcast.
And donate if you haven't donated yet.
Without a doubt.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
The Running Around Charlotte podcast is presented by the Novant Health Charlotte Marathon. Running Around Charlotte is produced in partnership with Well Run Media and Marketing. New episodes are available every week, anywhere you listen to podcasts.